All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a technology that's literally jumping from the pages of science fiction right onto our factory floors and eventually into our homes. We're talking about humanoid robots, and it looks like they're set to become a massive, multi-trillion-dollar industry. So, just how big are we talking? Well, check out this number, $5 trillion. That's what some analysts think the humanoid market could be worth by 2050. To give you some perspective, that's more than double the size of the entire global auto industry today. Just wow. Okay, so let's be clear on what we mean by humanoid. It's not just a robot that looks like a person. It's a robot designed to resemble the human body. Arms, legs, the whole shebang, for a really practical reason. So it can work in a world that was built for us. Using our tools, walking through our doors, that's the peak. And get this, we're not talking about a few thousand or even a few million of these things. The forecasts, they're pointing to over 1 billion humanoids in use across the globe by the middle of the century. That's not a niche product. It's like a whole new robotic population. Okay, so a $5 trillion market doesn't just appear out of nowhere, right? The big question is, why now? What's driving this revolution? Well, it turns out it's kind of the perfect storm. You've got these huge societal shifts happening all at once. There's this massive global push for more automation. We have aging populations in many countries, which is creating some serious labor shortages. And then you've got this rising demand for services. At the exact same time, the technology is finally catching up. AI is getting incredibly powerful. And really importantly, the cost of all the key parts, the sensors and motors, it's dropping like a rock. And this isn't just some far-off future trend, This push for automation is happening right now. Just look at industrial robots. Installations are climbing year after year, hitting well over 500,000 in 2023 alone. Humanoids, they're just the next logical step in this whole story. So when you have an opportunity this massive, you know what happens next, right? A race. A high-stakes global competition is kicking off to see who's going to build this future. And on the world stage, it's really shaping up to be a head-to-head competition between the US and China. Each one has its own set of pretty distinct advantages. China, for instance, has incredible government backing and basically dominates the supply chains for all the critical parts. The US, on the other hand, is currently leading the pack in the initial design and the really cutting-edge development. But it faces some big hurdles when it comes to actually making these things at scale. And speaking of the US, there's one major player that's going all in, betting its entire future on winning this race. And you've probably heard of them. Tesla. Yeah, Tesla's CEO, Elon Musk, is known for his, let's say, ambitious goals, and this is no exception. He's put a number out there that is just staggering. He wants to eventually build 1 million of their Optimus robots every single year. And look, this isn't just talk. They are making some massive moves to back this up. We're talking about repurposing entire EV factories just for robot manufacturing. They're basically doubling their capital spending to pour money into this expansion. And they're using their own factories as a real-world testing ground for the first Optimus models. Okay, so we know they're coming. But how are they actually going to integrate into our world? I mean, it's not like they're all going to show up at once. This is going to be a process, a multi-decade rollout. So yeah, don't expect to see a robot butler in your kitchen next year. The projections show a pretty slow, gradual adoption at first, right through the mid-2030s. But then we hit what they call an acceleration point. As the tech gets better and the costs come down, things are going to take off, leading to this really rapid growth and integration in the 2040s. And in those early days, that growth is going to be almost entirely in one place: work. Even as far out as 2050, it's estimated that a whopping 90% of all humanoids will be in industrial and commercial jobs. Think factories, warehouses, maybe even stores. The whole household robot thing, that'll still be a pretty small slice of the pie, at least for a while. So, what's the one thing that has to happen to get these robots from the factory floor to your front door? It's simple, really. It's all about the price. For this to go mainstream, for mass adoption, the price tag has to come way, way down. And right now, we are nowhere close. A single state-of-the-art humanoid in 2024 will set you back about $200,000. But just like with every new piece of tech, think flat-screen TVs or smartphones, that price isn't going to stay there. As they make more and more of them, that cost is expected to start dropping. down to a projected $150,000 by 2028. And then, by 2050, get this, it could absolutely plummet to as low as $15,000 in some places. Now that's a price that makes a robot in every home a real possibility. So when you put all this together, one thing becomes crystal clear. The question isn't if humanoid robots are coming, it's just when and how. This technology is absolutely on track to reshape, well, pretty much everything. Our economy, our jobs, our daily lives. So here's the bottom line. 1 billion robots are on the way, and they are going to fundamentally change what we think of as work, as help, even as companionship. And that leaves all of us with a really fascinating question to think about. What are you going to ask them to do?